She laughed at something I said, something stupid, probably, but the way her eyes held mine made me feel seen in a way I hadn't felt in years. I sipped my drink slower, trying not to let the moment stretch into something it wasn't supposed to be. Sarah had texted earlier, something about our daughter refusing her dinner again, and I typed back a short reply with a smiley face. I didn't feel much like smiling. I'd been living in the soft quiet of routine. Morning coffee, daycare runs, work emails, tired dinners, the same 2 TV shows before bed. It was fine. Fine is safe, but fine isn't alive. Mia, on the other hand, was new. Fresh energy. She remembered details from meetings I'd forgotten, brought homemade brownies on her second day, and laughed too easily. People called her charming. I called her trouble, silently, the kind you don't admit you're watching until it's too late. Tonight, the air between us had shifted. She leaned in when she talked, her hand sometimes brushing my forearm. It wasn't what she said, it was how she said it, like she already knew I wouldn't stop her. I asked how she liked the retreat, and she said, "It's not the meetings I'll remember," and her smile tilted. I knew the look, I wasn't oblivious. I'd been married long enough to know the moment before a mistake. It doesn't scream, it whispers. I could have mentioned my wife then, or changed the subject. Instead I said, "Yeah?" like an idiot, like I didn't know what she meant. She looked at me differently now, as if weighing something. Then she said it, like she'd been waiting all evening. Why wait? 3 words, that's all. She didn't elaborate, just stared, not blinking, her voice low, almost amused. My mind stalled. I laughed softly, unsure if it was disbelief or defense. I said nothing. She didn't move closer, didn't touch me, just let the weight of the question hang between us like bait. I looked away, then back at her. She hadn't flinched. Her expression was steady but not demanding, just open. I felt the spark of adrenaline, the kind that tells you you're standing near the edge of something sharp. It wasn't just attraction. It was the feeling of being chosen, seen, desired, like an antidote to the dull ache of invisibility I hadn't admitted had settled into my life. It wasn't about sex, not fully. It was about being wanted when I didn't even realize how long I'd felt unwanted. I said nothing. I didn't say yes, I didn't say no, but I didn't leave either. My silence was loud. She knew, I knew. And in that space where words weren't spoken, something shifted. I finished my drink, heart loud in my chest, thoughts scrambled, throat dry. She smiled again. Not wide, not seductive, just calm. She stood up first. I followed without question. The rest, I already knew how it would go. Her door clicked shut behind us, but it was the silence that followed that made everything feel heavier. No excuses, no laughter, no small talk. Just the air between us thick with what was already decided. I wasn't drunk. I couldn't even use that lie to myself. I knew exactly where I was, what I was doing, and who I was doing it with. She didn't rush anything, and that made it worse. It meant she wasn't reckless, she was certain. I should have walked away. I told myself that twice while watching her slip off her jacket. Once more when she looked at me like she knew the war in my head and didn't care who won. She touched my face with fingers that didn't tremble, her eyes not questioning anything. That was the moment, the final one, the moment where you either admit the truth or you cross into it. And I crossed. Her kiss didn't ask permission. It didn't need to. My lips moved without instruction. My hands betrayed every vow I'd ever made. The guilt didn't scream. It whispered, low and steady, drowned out by the heat of her skin and the way she breathed my name like it meant something. Every piece of logic cracked. Every reason to stop turned into a reason to keep going. I kept thinking it would feel wrong, that my body would pull back, that the weight of Sarah's trust would slam into me and freeze my limbs. But it didn't. I kept going. I let it happen. I wasn't numb. I wasn't detached. I felt everything, the fire, the hunger, the disorientation of a life spiraling in silence. And yet none of it stopped me. I wanted it. I wanted to be someone else, even if only for one night. Someone who wasn't predictable, tired, responsible. Someone she looked at like I was still worth chasing. When it was over, we didn't speak right away. I laid there, breathing like I'd run a mile, staring at the ceiling, trying to find some version of myself I could respect. She curled beside me like it was normal, like what we did wouldn't echo in every quiet moment of my marriage from now on. I looked at her and felt nothing like love, not even closeness, just a strange calmness mixed with the dread of knowing what I'd done could never be undone. I slipped out of the bed like a thief, grabbing my clothes in silence. She watched me from under the sheets, still wordless, not accusing, not apologizing, just watching. As I stepped into the hallway, everything felt colder. My phone buzzed, a message from Sarah, asking how the night had gone. I stared at the screen, fingers shaking, and typed a lie so short it almost hurt to send, "All good, miss you." Then I walked away from the door I should have never opened, carrying the truth like a weight I wasn't built to bear. The next morning felt like waking up in someone else's life. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. Same face, different eyes, eyes that had seen the line and stepped over it. Back home, everything was quieter than usual. Sarah smiled when she saw me, asked how the retreat went. I lied without thinking. She believed me because she had no reason not to. That's the worst part. How easily lies can pass when trust has been earned for years. I watched her cook breakfast, the way she hummed to herself, still in her robe, hair messy, familiar and soft. It crushed me. I kissed her forehead and hated myself for how natural it felt. I sat through the morning pretending nothing had changed, but inside, everything had shifted. I wasn't where I belonged anymore. I was just playing the part of someone who hadn't broken everything with a single night. Mia didn't reach out at first. I was relieved. Then I wasn't. Part of me wanted the silence. The other part wanted acknowledgement. She finally sent one message. "Hope you're okay." I stared at it for 10 minutes before deleting it. I didn't reply. What would I even say? That I regretted it? That I didn't? That it meant something? That it meant nothing? Every answer felt like a deeper betrayal. At night, I held Sarah a little tighter than usual, hoping I'd feel something clear, something honest. Instead, it was numbness wrapped in guilt. Her body fit against mine like it always had, but I didn't deserve that warmth. I kept waiting for a confession to rise up, to pour out of me, but it never did. I just swallowed it and told myself silence was mercy. A week passed. I caught myself imagining Mia's voice in quiet moments. It wasn't lust, it was something worse. A curiosity that hadn't died, a thread left dangling. I hated that I wanted to see her again, not for the act, but for the way she looked at me, like I was still someone interesting. At home, I felt like a ghost occupying an old life, moving through routines without feeling the ground beneath me. Sarah started noticing. She didn't ask right away, but her touches became less frequent, her voice more careful. She'd linger at the table after dinner, studying me. I couldn't meet her eyes. She still made time for us, tried harder. I just pulled further away, not to punish her, but because I didn't know how to be present without falling apart. One night she found a folded receipt in my coat pocket. Hotel minibar, wrong weekend. She asked nothing, said nothing, but I saw her shoulders stiffen. She placed it on the counter without a word. I wanted her to yell, to demand answers, but her silence was worse. It said she already knew, and she was waiting to see if I'd ever be brave enough to admit it.